Welcome to Log Analysis Made Easy, LAME Creations. We are working here on ITSI. This is the third video in a series on ITSI training and IT Service Intelligence. The first video we covered KPIs. The second video we covered entities. Now we're going to cover services. I've got my first service here, which we basically covered when we had to, because you can't have KPIs without a service. We're going to come back to this. We've got this little service called Lame YouTube. What can we do with that? So let's go into my configuration. We're going to come in here to services. And we can see the services that I have, and I can add new services. So I've got my Lame YouTube. I can turn the service on or off, and I can view its health. If I click its health, I can see how it's doing. Now, I'm going to talk about services while we come back with this health. What is a service? A service is a product, something you're providing. Let's say you're an online business company. It could be your online sales system. You could have services can be your databases. You just break down something that basically one of the reasons you're in business, what makes your money, what keeps you running, and that's your service. And then you have KPIs, which are the measurements to see how healthy that service is. And you can have services that are dependent on each other, etc. And so we've got, this is a horrible name, so now that I realize it when I first did this, we're going to come back to services. And unfortunately, it's going to make it a little difficult to put everything together, but we'll make it work. We're going to, I'm not allowed to change its name. Edit, there we go. Edit. So I can actually change the name up here. One of the services that we're going to have, actually no, for now, we're going to keep it as a single service. We'll come back and make a multi-service. So here's my service. I've got one KPI. Typically, you're going to have more than one KPI per service, but maybe there's just one key performance indicator for all of your services. We're going to build another KPI into this service. I know that we said we're doing it on services, but services are just kind of a umbrella for all of your KPIs, and your KPIs then say how healthy they are. So let's go ahead and make a new one. I'm going to do a generic KPI, and we're going to call this machine input. Sure. What a horrible name of KPI. We need a better name than that. So we're going to basically, last video we talked about using my little, we built a values coming in. So what could these be? Let's go with machine transactions. That's what we'll call them. Machine transactions. Since I was doing this on YouTube, they probably should have been called videos, and that would be how many videos were being watched or something like that. So let's do that. Even though I've called them machines, we're going to call this video transactions to make more sense since it's YouTube, right? So how many videos being watched? So we come in here and we go and we load our system. We're doing ad hoc search. We've already got this. And so what we're going to do, we're going to grab index equals YouTube. And there's my stuff. That's good enough. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make that my search. I'm going to have a threshold field, and that's going to be the value. So we'll write value there. And this is where we're going to show tying in entities. Sure, we're going to split by entity in this case. Yes, and we're not going to use the word host. We're going to use the word host machine. So we're going to put host machine. And then filtered entities in service. Nope, we're good. So this is going to split them up. Oops, I went back. Just so you see what it's doing is there are 4 machines writing in. We're not going to keep it as the whole. If we didn't split up by entity, all of these values, so I'll write them out here. Table, time, host, machine, value. Each one of these would all be aggregated together and we'd just be looking at the value of them all together. That would be how many, since these are supposed to be videos, that would be all of my videos together. But if I want to see how each video is performing, I would want to break it up by entities. So that's why entities, in my last video I said entities can be machines. In this situation, these entities are videos. They're whatever you want you want to track on, a point, something. It's basically a noun. Okay, so I've got a host machine here. I'm going to hit next, and we'll look back every 5 minutes. And I'm going to say that we're going to look for the highest. So we're going to look for the max. Oh, actually, let's go to the minimum video. Since we're looking at videos, bad thing would be people not watching the video. So we want to see the lowest. And the way this query runs is I'm getting back my results every 2 minutes. So I want to grab the lowest value. I could do an average and say, how many videos should they be watching every 5 minutes? We're just going to go with the lowest value, meaning the fewest amount of videos being watched during a period of time. So we'll just take that minimum. Service aggregate calculation, that's fine. Calculation window, 5 minutes. Null values, we'll use the last available value if there's nothing in there. Or let's do a custom value. We're going to go back to 0. If there's nothing there, it's a 0. Okay, we're not going to use any units, no lag. Sure, we'll put backfill in. There's not going to be a whole lot of data there. If this works, sweet. So this is it all aggregated together. And so this is the minimum value. You know, I don't like this minimum value. Now that I think about it, it's going to make my stuff look really low all the time. But we'll change it. But here's the per entity threshold. Boom. Now I have machine A, video, so I can see all the videos as an individual line. I like that, but I don't like this minimum. Now to look at it, put this back down. I'm going to go with average. What's the average amount of videos being watched in a 5-minute period? So we're going to go back, run that, let this calculate away. And now my numbers are higher because the mins we weren't going with a min value. And we got the aggregate threshold. And so anyway, that looks really good. So we're going to go ahead and finish that off. Let's go put some thresholding on here. So we've got the normal threshold. Um, Having a big high number is actually really good. So I don't want something like that. We're going to go anything above 1 is good. No, we're going to say anything above 2. If we're only getting 1 video watched, it's not good enough. And so we'll go put another value in there. So we're going to put this as 0. Add a new threshold. That's going to be 2. That's going to put us, let's go 1 being yellow, 2, oh, I want you to be low. 1 is yellow, add a threshold, and we're going to make this medium. And we're going the wrong direction. Okay, so this is critical. If nobody's watching, it's critical. If only 1 video is being watched, it's a high. If only 2 videos are being watched, it's low. We'll add 1 more threshold, and that will be at 3. and that'll be green. So anything where, and if we look at this, we can see, all right, I might have had too high expectations for myself. So we'll let that be green as well. So anything here, that's good. That's a value that's outside of what we want. And now this is an aggregate threshold. I can flip this to per entity thresholds, and I can do the exact same thing. So we're going to go, just add a few fields here. Do. Three's good. So 0 is definitely critical. No one's watching my videos. 2 is high. We're going to go low. And 3 is green. All right, so we got some issues down here. So we can see that sometimes I've got a video, this one video down here. Nope, machine B, they just don't. Nobody likes to watch that video. All right. Maybe just to make it a little better, we'll go 1, 2, put a few less down there in the critical. So now I've got each video as it individually. Okay, and if I hit save, it's going to add that KPI to my service. Now I have 2 KPIs, and I can see that. I've got a heartbeat KPI and a videos being watched KPI. We're going to duplicate this tab. We're going to go look at this thing now. We still have hardly started to talk about services and how they integrate. We're still on KPIs, but that's because the building block of all this is KPIs. And we get through this so we can start showing services, and hopefully you get the whole scheme of how services are supposed to work. But anyway, we've got a single service called my YouTube. Look at that. This service is not happy. We can see lame YouTube. The service is fine, but the heartbeat's 5, and this is red. So, all right, well, what's going on here? We can click this, and we can see the heartbeats, videos being watched. We can go hover over these, and we can see what's happening. Oh, we got no videos coming in at the moment. That's usually, that can happen when you're starting up. You're waiting for some videos. There's some lag, stuff like that. Um, anyway, we can see all the videos. If I click in here, I can actually drill down to this machine. I'm going to wait before I drill down. I'll start it, but let's come back. So I can actually see now very quickly. Notice this doesn't reflect. This is red. I've got a red KPI and a green KPI, but I can see what's going on. I can immediately get some details. I can see the values over time. I don't have nearly enough information here. So let's flip this to the last hour. That'll make my sparkline look a little better. And when we do that, then all of a sudden things start looking a little different. And I'll explain why that's the case. But anyway, so now we've got this is critical. He's coming in at 0 is not a good sign. And then, assuming it's going to tell me it's backlogged. Yep, backfill's done. Okay, so I got my heartbeat. It's nice and healthy. Videos being watched. Heartbeat doesn't have a whole lot of stuff down here because there's no entities. I didn't do an entity relationship, but I did over here entities, and because I did that, when I click it, I can see each one of the entities. And so let's go back and go look at this. So why, when I flip to 12 hours, was I green? Okay, I'm not green anymore. And the reason I'm not green is it finally kicked in. You got as soon as you kick these KPIs off, you gotta love it. They don't always update. Immediately got to wait for some of the data to catch up. But all right, so why is it green? Well, yellow. Hopefully you can get a idea. What's the heartbeat? What's green and the middle of green and red? Yellow. And so the concept is this is healthy, this is not. Thereby you get a service grade of 50. Well, let's talk about, is that how I want this to work? don't have anything here, so we're not going to go into this search at the moment. Let's go back to my service, and we can do thresholding. So what we've got here is we can say how much value are these different KPIs. So right now, so what I did is I came over to settings, and I say the heartbeat is worth 50% of the score. Videos being watched is worth 50% of the score. Maybe I come back here and I say, you know what, it's worth 90% of the score, and this is worth 1. This does not have to equal up to 100. It's just going to give a weight to it. And so if I do this, we hit save, we're going to, if we give time to go back to this definition, it's not going to be we're not going to have a 50% health anymore because we've changed the way our weights are. We can also, this 11, so 11 means give the utmost importance no matter what all the other KPIs are. If this service is bad, then this will be if this says red, the whole service will turn red. If this is green, then it's okay. But it's not going to make everything green, but if your service degrades, this will always, whatever the lowest level this is at a minimum, that's what your service will be. I'm going to try to say that one more time. This could be 100%. If you have this stuck as an importance of 11, this heartbeat can be 100%. It's good. And this one drops, your service level will degrade. But the other way, if this is at 11, and let's say this drops to a 50%, and all your other KPIs are 100, 100, 100, you will not average them. This will drop to 50%. The lowest, at least your KPI value will be whatever you mark as 11, the lowest it's at. That's where it starts. It can go lower, but it will not go higher than whatever you tick as an 11. I hope that makes sense there. All right. So let's see if this has refreshed itself. Come back to the default analyzer, refresh. You'll notice the colors have changed. Partly this is because it's been healthier, but it's because we're also giving a different weight to it. And so this score is going to go up. Um, So always remember that your score, and never pay attention to this last little bit. This can take off just solely based on the fact that if your logs don't exactly match up with when it's searching, it can come back with a 0. It's not a huge deal to worry about. It's really this line along the whole that you need to be careful of. Yeah, so that's services, and we notice machine C, this video is doing well. The rest of these videos, not as well. So hopefully people start watching these videos. It's all random. It's not like it. But anyway, so I can keep track of how each of these entities are doing. Now, what happens if I have more than one service? And that's usually the case. You're going to have more than one service. So I'm going to come in here and make a new configuration. We're making a new service, and we're going to call this the create a service, and we're going to call this cells from my online platform. We're going to come grab, we're not going to use any of these. We're going to manually add service content. We're not going to add any KPIs right now. I'm probably going to do another video where we just add them in, but it's not part of anything. It's more of a rehash so we can learn how these work. I'm just going to leave that as is. I'm going to go make another service. And so we're going to call that service. So we've got services being built, and I've got my YouTube, I've got my cells. Let's go with lame infrastructure. We'll add service content later. So this would be like my systems, how their health is. That's going to be easy enough to do a KPI for that. I just look at my internal logs, but we're not going to build the KPI here. I just want to show the principle. All right. I'm going to imagine it's going to give me problems if I try it. We'll see what happens when I try to build one without any KPIs. Anyway, so we're going to come here. We're going to do one more service, and we're just going to call it lame creations. So I've got three services. None of them are related. My cells, in a way, the infrastructure could be related to cells and my YouTube. We're going to say they're not related at all. We've got the infrastructure, we've got the YouTube, and the cells. Those are three not related services. But overall, they say how well is lame creations doing. So I'm going to have a lame creation service. So what I want to envision in my head is that I've got these three services, and these three services overall health dictates how well Lame Creations is doing as a whole. So how do I make that happen? I've got four. Go back to the services, configure, services. So I got four services, but I want them to be kind of a tiered service. So first thing we need to do is we need to make sure we enable them. So we're going to enable, yep, enable, enable, and enable. Now that those are enabled, we notice it's going to be interesting how you're going to get services with no KPIs. They're not going to give very good help there, but we'll get KPIs into them. Don't worry. All right, we're going to come back here and we're going to go look at our service definition. Nope, not that service definition. We're going to go service analyzer, default analyzer. And if we've given it just enough time so it loads itself up, we will have four services. Yep. Now their score is gray because there's no KPIs. But that's all right, I can see my four services. This is one of the reasons this is the view you almost always see for ITSI. Maybe some people like it. I don't particularly like it. I kind of like a hierarchical view, and you can get that by doing this tree view. And this is going to put down all four of my services. The problem is now they're just four little dots. They don't really do a whole lot. I'm going to now show how I can fix that. So if I come in here, we know the concept is lame creations, lame infrastructure, and lame YouTube will contribute to the overall score of, not cells. Sorry, I had that wrong. Should pay attention to what I'm saying instead of just going off instinct here. All right. What we want is lame creations will be based off of these three services. So we're going to come in here. We're going to go to lame creations, and we want the scores of the other services to affect this service. So what we've got, if we look at service dependencies, I can come in here and I can add a dependency. And I'm going to say that the lame infrastructure, its health score is going to be a contributing factor to my score. Here, I could choose these KPIs or just the overall health score. I'm just going to choose the overall health score. I can do cells, and I'm going to take the overall health score. So these three dependencies, the overall health score for those three services will contribute to my score. That's all I have to do. If I hit save, and I'm going to give it a second because it's going to take a minute for it to propagate so the default analyzer gets it. But if I come back to my default analyzer and I refresh this page, now it's done the hierarchical view. I can see that sales, lame YouTube, lame infrastructure are responsible for contributing to the lame creations. If I click lame creations, I'll see any KPIs related to it, but I can go and see down below, oh, you know what? This is red. It's not, because sales is out of whack. And so then I can come into sales and I can go look at it, which it also have no KPIs. So we'll go with lame YouTube is red. Why is it red? If I come click into lame YouTube, I can see, oh, okay, the videos being watched is really tanked. Thereby, that's why I'm having degradation in my entire service, etc. And so this allows you to really quickly see your stuff. The very next video we're going to do, we're going to put in some more KPIs. There won't be anything particularly new that we're going to cover. It's just a reinstate, make sure you understand how to get those KPIs and those services interrelating with each other. One last thing I want to do while I'm here in service definition is go back to settings. In the same way we did before, we can take these services and say how much does sales affect the overall score? How much does lame YouTube affect the overall score? How much does the lame infrastructure affect the whole overall scale? And you can mess with that and play with it and get it to get it set up and have your stuff interrelated. Um, so that is the my video on services. I hope it was helpful. I hope it helps you move from being a lame analyst to a Splunk ninja. And please feel free to comment down below. Jump on my Discord channel if you got any questions, any comments, concerns. And if there's other videos you want to see, please let me know. I tend to build the stuff based off what my what the viewers say that they want to see. And so if there's stuff I can help you with, let me know, and I'll try to put that into make that into a video. Anyway, hope you keep coming back and keep watching these ITSI videos.